Alright. Hello everyone, I am Couch23. I'm going to run some K8N for you today. We're going to go in 3, 2, 1, go. So, Kefka at Narshe. All we're doing is running up through the scenarios. We're going to finish all 3, and we're going to beat Kefka at Narshe. Timing ends when we hear the escape sound of Kefka. This is a pretty short run. An hour 40 is a little bit high of an estimate. This was originally going to be a race, but some unfortunate things happened, so here I am. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have Wedge and Vix run away from all the fights that we get into, because we want Terra to get as much experience as she can. We want Terra to basically be level 6 before we get to lock. Fun fact, you can actually walk around this. That encounter, that middle tile right there is actually an encounter tile. So you see me running here a little bit, and there's actually another like hidden gauge that deals with how fast you're able to run away. So what I'm doing is I'm building that gauge up right now. Yeah, the world record's like a 122. My PB is a mid 124. It's quite a quick run. It's really accessible game, to be honest. A lot of simple tricks. The A button is used like 90% of the time. So I can just prep all these attacks, and we use Bioblast here because it's a really long animation, and it allows for ATB to fill up on both Vix and Wedge, because you can't actually run away unless your ATB is full and your secondary, like hidden ATB bar is full as well. So we're gonna stack all this onto Terra, and she'll be level 5. First boss is coming up. It's gonna be Welk. Welk is one of those tutorial bosses, explains how, you know, ATB works, how bosses can now counter in this game with certain attacks. So we're gonna kind of abuse a little bit of a way of the. We're gonna abuse the way the ATB system works in this game. So you saw me menu and put on battle speed to 6. Battle speed in FF6 is basically a difficulty slider. So the lower the number is, so we're on 6, the slower the enemies go. It's only enemies that it affects, so we pump it all the way down. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have Terra use Tech Missile 3 times. And we're gonna do what's called weight tricking. So anytime there's an animation going on, if I'm sitting in a menu, it won't actually advance anybody's ATB. So we kind of use this to our advantage here. And we're gonna attack the shell as well. What that's gonna do is it's gonna cause the shell to counter. And it will give us a little bit more time on the ATB here. Got it. Sweet. It's pretty good. So we're gonna prep our menu ahead of time, make sure our fire's all set up, and we're gonna move on. A lot of cutscenes in this game. You can only mash with A, but while you're in battle, or a battle style box, you can just hold down A to advance text. So like right here, I have to mash A. But once we get into this little cutscene, it goes to the battle style, and I can just hold down A, and it automatically advances the text. I don't have to do anything. There's not too much tech in this game not too much hard tech in this game to learn. Really, weight tricking is the biggest thing you're going to learn if you decide to learn the speedrun. Lore-wise, Terra, confused, she's got this hypno crown, or whatever you want to call it, installed on her head that basically allows them to control her. And there they are retrieving an Esper for the Empire, well, attempting to, from these guards. And here we meet our good friend Arvis. Arvis, his name isn't shown right away. He's known as Old Man. Yes, kitty. I can't have you walking on me right now. My co-commentator likes to walk all over me. So the way text scrolling works in this is... well, the way the text works in this is it scrolls. So we like to name our characters one character to save some time over the whole run. So instead of having it to type out Terra, it'll just have to type out T, and that's, you know, a frame or two every two to three letters, I think. So it saves a significant amount of time over a run. So before I started the run, I did a little prep on what's called getting my encounter seed. So I know exactly what encounters are going to show up and where they're going to show up, as long as I walk perfectly. So we'll get 3 encounters in these caves, and then we're going to have to farm out another one by taking some extra steps. And just use fire. Fire will kill these things no matter what. Anytime you multi-target, they don't have that much HP. So we can just get through here pretty quick. The step route is actually pretty lenient across most of the game. There are some spots where you can't take any extra steps, otherwise you'll force some encounters to show up that you don't want to. But otherwise, you can make a couple mistakes here and there, and it's not really going to bite you too bad. Oh, I am petting the cat, don't you worry. Oh wow, I'm getting a lot of phantom lefts. 2 preemptives, that's pretty crazy. Yes, I'm petting you, I know! That would be Cheddar, by the way. My cat is very vocal, and she likes to demand the pets, even when I'm petting her. So we're gonna farm out a last encounter right here. Wow, 3 preemptives, holy cow. How often do I pet the cat? Every time I stream. So we know she hit level 6 there because she learned Ant Dot. She learns Ant Dot at level 6. That spell cures poison. We'll be using it. Hopefully we won't be using it, but we may need to use it sometime later on in the run. The reason we got Terra to level 6 is whenever a party member first joins, they get a level bonus. So most characters join at an average party level plus 2 levels. So Locke here will join at level 8 since Terra is level 6, since the average party level is just 6. Characters like Mog have an average party level plus 5, so they get like a nice, a very hefty one, and then Bannon actually gets average party level minus 3. That's he's always kind of bad. So here we see a little flashback. Terra is vaguely remembering getting the crown put on and seeing, hey, okay, well, this is what's going on. Here we see Celeste, Leo, Kefka, and the Emperor. In this run, the last boss is Kefka, when we're fighting him in the snowy mountains of Narshe. So it'll be exactly after the 3 scenarios end. We'll go do that little fun little fighting part, and after Kefka escapes, that's when the time ends. So here we meet Locke, a thief, treasure hunter. He's apparently does not like being called a thief. I mean, who does like being called a thief? I mean, unless that's literally your job. So coming up, we've got we're gonna have a little, I don't want to say like a scenario type thing, but it's a little split team part of the game that we run into a few times throughout the game. And in this part, we're gonna kind of not abuse, but we're gonna take advantage of the fact that when the enemies are actually walking, when they're in motion, you can't actually get into an encounter with them. So we're going to use that to our advantage to completely skip all of them and go right to the Marshal. We meet the best characters in any Final Fantasy game coming up here, the Moogles. Moogles are hands down my favorite. So adorable. Oh no. Little fluff balls. In text boxes with this game, you can actually hold directions and have it advance the cursor so you don't have to worry about not mashing to get through that. So here we're going to wait for him to move and walk right by him. So when they are taking that step, you can walk right by them. And we're going to take advantage of that right here too. See, you can walk right, you can hold left right into them, and they're not going to do anything. But here we fight Marshall. Marshall can be annoying here because he can use net. And net causes stop. If that happens to Mog, it's kind of unfortunate. So here we're going to take Mog's shield, and we're going to take the pike as well, but we want to make sure that we get that shield. In this game, who's the main protagonist? The answer to that is yes. It's going to be really hard to decide, to be honest. I mean, it starts out following Terra, and Terra kind of leaves, and we kind of get stuck with, you know, Edgar or Sabin, and then we enter the World of Ruin, we hit Celeste, she's the main focus. It could be argued really anybody is the main character. So this text box coming up, it says, "Remember this door." Apparently this is the only translation that says that. And I think it's a cool little hint, like, hey, you may be coming across and seeing this part of the game later. You should probably remember. We're going to walk quite specifically on the overworld. So there are actually no threat tiles on the overworld here. Basically, anytime that the plains meet the actual like grass, there's like no encounter tiles somewhere in there. I can't really explain it too well. It looks better. It's a lot easier to explain with a picture. But we're gonna get 2 encounters before the castle, and we're gonna meet our next characters. We're gonna run from all the encounters right now. We don't need a whole bunch of levels. We will do a little bit of grinding on Mount Colts, which is after South Vigaro coming up. So here we're gonna meet King Edgar. He is a machine person. He enjoys, you know, all these cool machine technical things. And again, we are going to name him E, because he is, again, a long name. This part of the game is really just kind of introducing you to characters, getting you used to the controls. You're getting, you know, some background here. Edgar's doing his best to try and pick up Terra. Terra's really not having any of it. She's not understanding, I'm assuming. So in Final Fantasy VI, you can actually hold a direction and mash your confirmation button through all the text boxes, so you can just be ready to go as soon as that text box ends, unlike, say, Final Fantasy IV, where you can't be holding any button, you have to be pressing a button. So you can't hold a direction and then mash, you have to just have to mash and then hold the direction, which the text clears. And you can also, in this game, hold A, and when you walk into somebody, you'll talk to them. This run is definitely not glitchless. We will be abusing quite a few glitches. We'll be abusing a Psycho Cyan glitch. We'll be clipping through some NPCs. Well, I think that's about all the glitches that we do in this run. Nothing too major. So here we meet Sabin, some bodybuilder, strong guy. Always been my favorite character. So coming up, I'm gonna hesitate in front of a door. The main doors that I came out of coming down this main area. I'm gonna hesitate just for a second and watch an NPC. Wait for him to start to disappear behind this wall, and then I'm gonna go, and then this guy will be out of the way, the Chancellor. If you walk frame perfectly through this castle, he will always be in your way. So that's why I hesitate outside that door just a little bit to have him out of the way. So here we meet the crazy Kefka. His brain has been kind of melted from the first Magitech experiments, which has made him crazy. Celeste actually got almost the same type of experiments done to her as well. So we got the staring contest. That's a frame-perfect trick. It saves like 2 frames. So those guys usually face back forward when you're done talking to them. But if you clear your text boxes and talk to the next one exactly the same frame after, you clear that text box, you save 2 frames. It's just fancy. So here, we're gonna race Locke to the bedroom, but he's always gonna win. He's got some magic that we don't know about. Just teleports right in front of us. Alright. Now, Locke here is telling Terra that she shouldn't feel bad, and she's explaining that she's a little confused and she's not sure what to do. Locke is saying that we'll help you find the right way. I'm always curious as to how this castle ends up on fire. I mean, I don't know any stone that is flammable. If anybody knows of any flammable stone, I would love to know. So we're just gonna ignore Kefka, walk straight up, and advance the plot. He's preparing the castle to submerge because it is now a submarine. And we're gonna escape. Well, attempt to escape, anyways. So suddenly we have a submerging castle, which the logistics of this still kind of like confuses me. I'm not really sure how this castle can submerge in the sand, but what do I know? Co-commentator has returned. She apparently needed to go eat something. So here we're gonna be chased down by some Magitech armor. We're not gonna actually use magic in this fight. That creates a very long cutscene that we have to sit through. And we like going fast, not slow. Can't actually run here. We're gonna use auto crossbows. We're just gonna kind of cruise along with the fight. So again, I'm weight tricking to kind of extend my turn, give me a better chance at not taking as much damage. Escaping on Chocobo seems pretty awesome. Imagine if Chocobos were real. So here we're gonna find out that that Edgar has a plan to take Terra to go see Bannon. Bannon being the leader of the Returners, the basically rebel group that is trying to stop the evil empire. Sounds awfully familiar. Just a whole bunch of mashing, pretty much. This game's got a lot of text we gotta get through. So when you're riding the Chocobo on the overworld, A makes you go forward. You can hold your bumpers to get faster turns. So if you hold L or R when you're turning, you can turn the Chocobo much faster than you would be able to without. Same goes for airships and all the other transportations. So we're going to actually fight the encounters in here, because we want a little bit of experience. Before Vargas, we want to make sure that we have levels corresponding to 10, 9, 8. We want Edgar to be 10, Locke to be 9, and Terra to be 8. Because that will give us an average party level of 9, and Sabin will join at level 11 versus level 10. Meow. Come here. So there's only going to be 3 encounters in this cave. Gonna take them. They're pretty easy. We just auto crossbow. The only things we need to worry about are those blearies. Edgar can low roll 118, and they have 119 HP. So I just queue up an extra attack to try and get through the fights. Taking the shortest possible routes. So on the overworld, I'm gonna walk kind of silly. We're gonna take a very specific route. And we're gonna walk on a lot of those no threat tiles that I was talking about. So we hope that guy doesn't get in the way, but he does. NPCs are the bane of my existence. We're gonna buy 3 sprint shoes here. Put one on Terra and get going fast. Sprint shoes do make walking in this a little bit harder, since you're moving basically double the speed. There are some nice tight turns that are going to be difficult, but as long as you can menu and move your thumb around the D-pad fast, you should be good. most of the encounters on Mount Colts we're going to run from. Anything inside, inside of these caves, we're going to run from. They're just slow fights. We can't kill them right away. We're also going to do a couple things. We're going to unequip the Mithril Blade from Edgar and put the Mithril Pike on him. And then we're going to take the Mithril Blade and put it on Locke. Sometime in these fights that we do have to take. That will come in handy a little bit later. So if you get a preemptive, it's not every preemptive, but most preemptives, if the enemy team has less members than you will have to perform what's called a quick preemptive. Basically, you input a certain command that will make your whole team run away as one versus having them like kind of hesitate in between. So I actually never knew about that Atlas armlet until I started speedrunning. There's a lot of hidden things that I never knew about. So here we want Locke to run away from at least one encounter. So Locke got away. We don't need to worry about having him run anymore. And now we're gonna make our way further. Continue to make our way through Mount Colts. Hopefully not running into any pincers or anything. Pincers bad. Really slow. So here, while we do Terra's Fire, we'll probably actually just do it while we do the auto crossbow here. So I'm going to put that Mithril Blade on Locke here while we finish this out. There will be 2 encounters that we'll run from on the mountain, on this part of the mountain, but we will be fighting them to try and get a little bit more levels. We see a Bane Touch there, which is very unfortunate. So that means I'm going to have to menu heal the poison, because Poison Walk in this game is absolutely abysmal. It is not the prettiest looking thing. And I'm going to actually also heal, just to make sure we're full up. Continue on. At the end of a battle that you win, if you have all the command boxes closed, it actually saves you time as well. So that's why you see me throwing up like a defend or having Locke steal when he's not even going to be doing anything. Or have them both throw up a fight, just in case, a Trillium doesn't die. But now Edgar will get his level here, so he'll be able to kill them without an issue. So we'll have 2 more encounters after this one. But after this fight, we will not need to grind anymore. We will run from the next 2 fights. And then we'll be ready to take on Vargas. So we see TNL gained a level there, so that puts us at 1098. Gives us an average party level of 9. One more encounter right before Vargas. Hopefully we don't get Bane touched. But we do. Unfortunately. So that's another menu, so we're going to lose a hair bit more time here. But yeah, this Mount Colts is pretty solid. We got a few preemptives, really good. A nice walk, Nothing too major slowing us down. Alright, so here we're going to have both Edgar and Terra attack the Ipoos right away, and then we're going to have Locke change rows. We want Locke to be in the front, so he does a little bit more damage versus being in the back row. Alright, now we basically just hold A. Here we are going to wait trick still. Wait tricking is good. We want to get as many turns as we can without having the enemy take as many turns as they can. So we're gonna wait tricking is really big, even in casual play. It's really advantageous across the board. So here we learn that Vargas is unhappy with his father because he's assuming that he picked Sabin over Vargas himself. So here we're going to throw a quick pummel down. Fortunately, we get a Doom Fist. It's no big deal. There is a minor glitch in this game. If you hit down and A too fast to go to Blitz, it actually will count that down as your first input. We're now learning that there are relatives, both Sabin and... Well, we're not now learning, but it's being re-divulged. Sabin is saying that he would like to join and help our fight. So we're going to have one of those pin hair turns that I was talking about earlier. That sprint shoes kind of make it tough to get going. It's right here on the staircase. We got to go up and around like that. When I was first learning and getting the movement with sprint shoes, I always messed up that. Sprint shoes are fantastic, but they make things hard to accomplish. A lot of extra steps when those are. So we're going to run again. We don't need to gain any more levels. We're pretty set for the rest of this run. So I take the zigzag in there. You actually don't get any encounter tiles in there. You can actually soft lock in here. Good, the guy stayed out of the way. So that guy walking down in the bottom corner can actually walk directly between you and that NPC guiding you. And you will straight soft lock. There's nothing that can go on, nothing can happen, you're just stuck. If you are on step route on a good encounter seed, NPCs usually move the same, as long as you do the same thing every time. There is a very small chance that it can happen. I've never had it happen to me. I have seen it happen to a couple people in runs before. It is very unfortunate when it does happen. And here, we gotta go talk to Locke, Sabin, and Edgar before we're able to talk to Bannon. We are gonna open a few chests. We're gonna pick up a few things that we're gonna sell later on. And, yeah. We're gonna basically tell Bannon that we really don't feel like helping him. Saying no to Bannon once, twice, or 3 times will allow you to receive the Genji Glove, which is broken, as well as the Gauntlet, which is broken as well. But we don't want the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet's bad. We want the Genji Glove. So the Genji Glove allows you to dual wield, but it's supposed to give you a damage penalty, where your damage is reduced. It does not do that. But we are going to talk to this guy right here and receive the Genji Glove to kind of cut that part out of the scene later. The True Knight is going to come in handy later. We're going to be equipping that. And most of the other stuff we're going to sell. Say no to Bannon. It's much faster. We don't have to sit through the super long cutscene. So here we learn that the Empire has learned the whereabouts of Terra, and we need to get her out of there. But we also need to have a spy go infiltrate Figaro, and who better to send as a spy than the thief? I mean, treasure hunter. And then we're gonna dilly-dally our way to the river. So we're gonna do a little menu here in a second, but we're also gonna save and reset twice. We're gonna change our encounter seed again, but we're also gonna manipulate so we only get 2 encounters on the river. This is a very peaceful river. Sprint shoes, Genji Glove, save. So 1 reset, we're gonna go back to that save screen. When you get to the save screen, it advances your encounter seed by 1. And anytime you load or start a new game, it advances it by 14, I want to say. It's either 13 or 14. Then we're going to load our save file, and we're going to hesitate for a minute outside of the entrance and wait for this guy to get to a certain spot. Right when he walks onto that carpet, we're going to bounce. And what that's going to do is we're going to get the very first 2 encounters on the river, and then we won't run into another one at all. It'll be nice, calm. We're going to run from this first encounter. The second encounter you can either run from or fight. It makes some of the fights a little bit safer, a little bit faster. But if you take the encounter, you lose a fair amount of time. It usually takes to get Edgar another level. We're not going to take it today. It's not super important. What are you doing, Cheddar? So you saw the ink miss on Edgar, actually. So what ink does is it applies blindness. And as we all know, blindness does not work in this game. So all blindness does is give you some cool guy shades. That's it. So here, I'm going to menu, put Bannon and Edgar in the front row. And we're going to save at the next save point. More for just marathon safety, but the next fight is pretty scripted. The only thing that can really happen is if Bannon gets crit in the front row on that first attack, he kind of SOL. So here, we're just going to throw a quick save down. So this next fight is pretty scripted. Well, quote-unquote scripted. If you follow the battle the way that it was routed out, you'll never get an attack from Ultros besides that first one. So we're going to hold down Y going into battle, and kind of going to focus on the fight, really, just to make sure I don't mess it up. So when we get back to Edgar, we're going to fight, and then we're going to get back to Terra. And we're going to wait trick Edgar's fight. And we're going to get back to that whole counter-canceling thing that we were talking about earlier. So here, we counter-cancel out his turn, and his ATV kind of resets. We're going to wait trick again, give ourselves a little bit more time, and we're just gonna hold A pretty much from here on out. So, pretty simple fight. The timings are really tight. If you don't execute it like extremely, not like perfect, but you need to be relatively close to all the timings. As you see, the first attack was the only thing that Ultros did besides his counters. Yeah. Otherwise, you know, you'll get a tentacle attack to Terra, and then a tentacle attack to Sabin. So, scenarios, following order, we're going to do Sabin's scenario first. Because at the end of Sabin's scenario, we really want to pick up the smoke bombs, which basically let us run away from fights that we're able to run from. Even if we're in a pincer, if we use a smoke bomb, we're good. We're going to pick up Shadow here. You don't need to, it's just a lot safer. We don't need to name Shadow. Because his name's only gonna pop up in like 2 text boxes. So we leave his name full. If we were doing, you know, like a glitchless run or a no sketch run or something, we would definitely name him down to an S. And again, we're gonna follow a certain path, so we get into certain encounters to make things a little bit easier on us. Coming up, we have quite a lot of cutscenes. The Imperial Camp, otherwise known as Camp Cutscene. This whole part of the game, you know, the next 5-6 minutes is basically a giant cutscene. We don't do a whole bunch besides MASH. We do a couple encounters, but they're mostly just hold A. But yeah, no, this is it's a great part to just kind of zone out and mash A in. If you watch these guards, or not the guards, but if you watch the soldiers when they first show up to the castle, watch the guy on the left at the corner, at that little first corner. He's my favorite. He's my favorite, just because he is trying his hardest. He's trying his hardest to scale the wall. He's just going at it. He's trying. Here we meet Cyan. Cyan is absolutely slow. He was one of my favorites growing up as a kid, but speedrun-wise, he is extremely slow. He has the second slowest, that hidden run bar I was talking about at the beginning of the run. His fills up the second slowest. Bannon's obviously fills up the slowest. So here we're going to menu, and we're going to change that battle speed back up, because Cyan has a sword tech called Retort. And we want to make this fight go a little bit faster, so we pump it up. And so what Retort does is it waits for damage to be received, and then it basically gives it back to the person who does it. So here we wait for Retort, we get our Retort, and then he attacks. So we got the black belt drop. The black belt is the normal drop from this fight. Then you can actually drop the Phoenix down as well. The Phoenix down is the rare drop for some reason. We like seeing the black belt because that gives us a little bit more money. Black belt sells for about 1,500 versus a Phoenix down, which sells for like I think 700, 750. Seeing the black belt is always good. It lets you know that, hey, I don't have to sell a whole bunch of more things just to try and buy some more smoke bombs later on. And yes, Cyan's theme is fantastic. It is probably one of my favorites. So here we're gonna mash through a whole bunch of text boxes. There's a lot going on right now. We're gonna suplex Kefka. I feel like suplexing Kefka right now. It seems like the good thing to do. He seems like he could use a hug. So when you fight Kefka individually, he's actually counting as in your party, because of his in-battle sprite. Basically, he counts as being as one of your party members. So that's why I didn't change the battle speed back to 6 here. So here we see Sabin. We're gonna suplex him for funsies. Again, the in-battle text, we just hold down A. The game plays itself. Alright, so here we're gonna turn our battle speed back down now. And we're actually gonna steal all of Shadow's gear. He doesn't need it. He's already clothed, he doesn't need that ninja gear. We actually take it to put on Sabin, because Sabin needs a little bit more speed, as he's gonna be one of our main damage dealers throughout the run. And we get the doggo. So Shadow has a status called Interceptor. So Interceptor will block for him, and sometimes he'll counter with a devastating attack. You can actually lose Interceptor to monsters later in the game with a skill called Rippler. Rippler exchanges your status with the monsters or the monsters with yours, and you can actually lose Interceptor permanently if that happens. Another fun status effect is Magitech armor. When you see people in Magitech armor, at the beginning or coming up here in a minute, it's actually a status effect as well. It's pretty crazy to think about, like, how many things are status effects in this game, or what works and what doesn't work in this game. So, purple drink, don't drink the Kool-Aid, especially if you're in a castle. This sprite always confused me as a kid, so I always thought the brown part of the king was his, bottom part, and the top was his head, and I was always confused as a kid. And now that I look at it, when I'm older, I'm like, oh, he's face down and his head is downwards, not the other way. It always confused me as to what he was supposed to be. Here we learn that the poison apparently rapidly spread, and Cyan and that other guard were the only ones to not drink any of the poisoned water. Unfortunately, Cyan's wife and child both drank water and have been poisoned, which sends Cyan into basically berserk mode. He kind of loses his mind and rushes down to the Imperial camp to try and take out some of everybody. So in these upcoming fights, we will actually not have any control over Cyan, so he can either use Dispatch or he can physically attack. Dispatch is going to lose us a little bit of time, but it's no big deal. of course we get dispatch. So this first fight will either have 4 or 3 guards, and the second fight will have 4 or 3 guards. Sometimes you'll get 3, sometimes you'll get 4. Usually you get 4 in the first one and 3 in the second one. Cyan and the soldiers bouncing off each other like that are actually it's actually done by trigger tiles. So if you just stand there, nobody will move. Alright, so this fight, we're gonna attack one of the guards with Shadow. Let's watch to see what Cyan does. And that's gonna determine what we do with saving. So the optimal fight there is to have Shadow kill one of the soldiers up front, then have Cyan kill the second one, and then just have Sabin Orbolt the leader. Alright, so here we get our Magitech status effect. It's unfortunate that we can't keep it throughout the game. There are some pretty OP things that are part of the Magitech system, like Tech Missile. Heal Force is pretty strong. It is basically Cure 2, but it's only single target. Here, we just use the Fire Beams, or Ice Beams, or Bolt Beam, whatever you want to do. Every single one's going to kill the enemies one shot, no problem. It kind of confuses me how we can destroy the enemies so good, but when they use like tech laser or whatever on us, we end up, you know, not dying at all. All right. A lot of this game is just holding A. So we like to wait trick here just to make sure the ATV is empty on Shadow, so we don't have to worry about that fight. And here we go. Again, walking on the overworld, very specifically walking on no threat tiles. I'm gonna throw a quick save down here. So we don't actually worry about healing right now. Right after this encounter on the next screen, we're gonna get a recovery spring, which basically acts as a tent. Tents will full heal you and bring people back from being dead. So if anybody dies along the way, you don't need to worry about bringing them back before the recovery spring. The step route isn't super important right now. It will be in a little bit on the train. It will determine if we mess up the step route on the train, we'll get undesirable encounter after the Phantom train, and it will kind of make things a little bit tougher to get Gao. So in the second train car, we're going to farm an encounter right at the exit of the second car, so we can have more favorable encounters on the train. And we need to walk perfectly. We can only take one extra step. If we take 2 extra steps on the train, we end up getting an encounter after the train where we don't want. Otherwise, Otherwise, yeah, we're still rocking it pretty good. Alright, cool. So the reason we farm an encounter in this train car is if we don't, we'll get an encounter outside of the outside, and it will be 4 of those whispers that can end up in a pincer attack. That is one of the worst things to try and run away from. It is a huge time loss, and we just don't want to. We don't want to deal with that. So you need to walk up 2 tiles to have that ghost appear. The good thing about ghosts is you can use a potion on them. A potion will immediately kill them, so we can just kill one and run away. Alright. Shadow runs away. And now everybody's favorite no escape. We're gonna leap across this train. I don't know how Sabin does this carrying 2 other people. Sabin must have some really strong legs or something. This is a pretty massive leap. Sabin's been waiting his whole life for this. So this switch right here is actually a pretty cool multi-purpose use switch. It detaches train cars and it opens walls. Like, I'd love to have a switch like that in my house. So we're gonna get into an encounter here. We're gonna run, and then we're gonna immediately menu an unequipped Cyan. We're gonna unequip Cyan, and then the result of entering the menu is we're gonna clip right through that ghost. So, mash X. And, aw, you went down instead of right. Otherwise you would have... It all depends. So if that ghost goes right, you'll clip through him and just run through him. Otherwise, he'll go down and you'll just kind of bump into him. Yes, yes, I know, I'm petting you. So we get the earrings there. Sabin's blitzes, most of them are actually magic. Aurabolt is magic-based. These bombs are actually scary. The reason why we stay on step route as well is they cast Blaze. Blaze can be very devastating. And we want to avoid that as much as possible. So we try and have a single one versus a 3-pack. Alright. Now everybody's favorite part is coming up. I always struggled with this boss as a kid because I didn't know you could use a Phoenix down. Apparently you can just use a Phoenix down and kill it, no problem. But everybody's favorite part, Sabin has really been working out, and you know, he feels like flexing on this train. So, we're gonna flex on it. Aw, we messed up. We're gonna get it, don't worry. There we go. Yeah, apparently we are much faster than this train. I don't know how we can't escape it. I mean, we could have also just, like, you know, ran right or left and, you know, moved out of the way of the train. I don't know. The fun fact about Evil Toot, it can cause confuse. Um, I do like seeing Evil Toot when I get the suplex input, because if Saban gets confused, he can actually suplex himself. I don't know how that's even physically possible, but it happens. I've had it happen a couple times. The self suplex is amazing to see. So we're going to take a small menu during this this next part. Once we get control of Saban, it's actually on a timer. So I can just stand there and do nothing, or I can go in my menu and move some stuff around. It's completely up to what you want to do. But we are going to enter the menu. We're going to equip Saban with a couple things that will help in the next part of the run. We're going to put the earrings on Saban for a little bit more damage from his Aura Bolt, and the True Knight. We're going to move some stuff around. Gonna move the black belt up and the crossbow up. Alright. So I got my inventory all ready to sell some stuff when I need to. And since we didn't mess up step route, we will not get an encounter between here and the cave. The next part we don't have to worry about. We get a free heal as soon as we jump down the waterfall. And we're gonna skip this boss. I don't feel like fighting this boss today. I think we're just gonna skip it. You can do this as long as you have a Phoenix down. Anybody can do this. This is probably one of the easiest tricks in this run. So we're just gonna hold up, mash A, why not? So the reason we unequip Cyan is we're gonna kill Cyan. We don't need Cyan's help. Maybe we do. I don't know. We'll kill him off. So what we're going to do is we're going to kill Cyan, and we're going to bring him back to life, queue up a retort, and then use suplex with Saban. What that's going to do is activate the Psycho Cyan glitch, and we're just going to skip the boss completely. We're going to, since Saban has the True Knight on, if Cyan tried to attack himself, he would just hit Saban. Phoenix down. We put the True Knight on Saban because if a Piranha happens to hit Saban and he is crit, Cyan will die again, and we don't have another Phoenix down to try and bring him back with. So we queue up retort, queue up a suplex, which is going to miss, and then Cyan is going to retort. And yeah. There we go. Boss skipped. Coming up, the probably most RNG heavy part of this run, we have to try and find Gao in a random encounter. So you can't actually find Gao if you have somebody in your party dead, if it's a back attack, or a pincer attack. So if we get into a back attack, you can't find Gao. So we want to make sure our party is full health, and the reason we stay on step route is because we want these single encounters like the ghost and the bombs that we saw. So here I'm going to menu after Gao runs away, because I want to make sure both Cyan and Saban are at full health. We'll use potions, run down, and make our way. So the next fight is going to be that pincer attack that we saw at the beginning of the run, with the 2 guards and the 1 dog. So that's a mandatory pincer, and it's fast just to kill all the enemies and actually win the encounter. Cheddar is very vocal right now. So we just hold A through this fight. Fighting kills them, no problem. We're gonna make our way over to, I think this is Mobla's. Pretty sure this is Mobla's, that's what it's called. We're gonna buy dried meat. But we're also gonna try and pick up some other things, like money. We're gonna sell the items at the top of our inventory, and just pick up 1 singular dried meat, because that's all we need. Okay, and now we get to go find Gao. So the first encounter we're gonna come across is a single ghost. And if Gao does not show up there, the next encounter will be a single bomb. If Gao does not show up there, we're in trouble, because we gotta farm out another encounter. So here we can either take care of it with a Aura Bolt or a potion. And Gao is kind today. So again, the in-battle text, just hold A. I like to set my console on top of the A button and, you know, get up, stretch if I need to. Wiggle my arms around, you know, talk to chat, pay attention to what's going on. This is a nice, like, 1.5-minute little cutscene that you get to sit through. I will be asking for a certain emote in just a minute. See, the cat is thinking, why did you give him dried meat when you could have given me dried meat? That's definitely what Cheddar was thinking. So coming up, we're gonna have a little imp that comes in and gives us a little tutorial on how leap works, on how Gao's, you know, main combat works. That imp's name happens to be Kappa. So when that imp shows up, I would love to see Kappas. All of the Kappas, as soon as the imp shows up. Rainbow Kappa, regular Kappa, HD Kappa, whatever Kappa you would like to spam. So here, we're gonna get one more encounter. We're gonna get that bomb encounter. We're gonna run from it, since we already have Gao, and then we'll be on our way. There's a 5/8 chance of Gao to show up in any encounter. The worst I have had is a 6th try Gao, and it was very saddening, because I just had to walk back and actually... So after this, I'm actually gonna step back out and save. There's a very scary encounter on the river. The very first encounter, if you get a single Anguiform, it can cast Aqua Rake, and Aqua Rake will kill everybody but Gao and leave Gao in critical HP. That leaves very scary. That makes things quite scary. So we're gonna throw down a quick safety save, just in case, and we're gonna progress. So here we find a helmet, just one helmet, allows us to breathe underwater. I don't know how 3 people use one helmet. Maybe they share it. I don't know. I don't ask questions. I mean, they had a stone castle on fire earlier. I mean... the river, or sorry, the trench, we will be getting 4 encounters. The least amount you can get is 3. So if you go right and right at both little forks in the trench, you'll get 3 encounters. But it's slow because the second right, you have to walk through 2 screens, and they're both relatively long. So we just take a left and take another encounter. We take 4 encounters instead of 3. It is faster just to take another encounter. So here we do get the single angle form. I am going to Aura Bolt it because it is very scary and we don't want to die. So if you get like a back attack there, you're basically gonna have to reset because it will more than likely cast off Aura. Run from all the encounters in here. We don't really need to fight anything. The single angle form was the scariest. We're through that. We're through the worst, scariest part of the game. We can just run away now. There's a chest off to the right that I would pick up if I was running a different category. It is an X potion. You can grab it if you want. Don't need to. Kefka and Narshe is not really needed. So we're going to go left here, we're going to take our 2 encounters. We can get into a pincer, or we can get into a preemptive and run away. So let's hope for one more preemptive. I'd really love another one, that'd be pretty neat. Oh. The angle form also has the hard to run flag, so that's why it's taking me so long to actually run from this fight. Unfortunately, Cyan has not gotten hit once. I would usually kill Cyan off here, but his HP is too high, so it's faster just to run with him now. Coming up in Nakia here, we're going to go buy smoke bombs, but I'm also going to stop and buy a pike as well. Another mithril pike. We're going to throw that on Edgar. And yeah, we only need like 14 smoke bombs or so, and we're set for the rest of the run. We're coming up on the tail end as well. There's not a lot left. We're going to form quite a big glitch coming up. And it's pretty easy and anybody can do it. We're going to be doing lock scenario next. And in lock scenario, you can clip through that guard on the right, actually. There's a lot of runs that use it. The No Sketch uses it, Kefka and Narshe uses it. I'm pretty sure Sketch used it when it was still being ran. We don't need Celeste. Celeste is overrated. So we're going to go here to lock. We're going to do a quick equip. We're going to put on some sprint shoes. And then we'll be on our way through the caves. You ask, how am I going to beat tunnel armor? Well, I'll explain that when we get there. Go in here. Sprint shoes. Optimize. Move him down, because if we do get into a certain pincer attack, we'll be in trouble. So we clip through the guard, we get on our way, get into an encounter. Get our awesome preemptive, because lock is lock. And we'll work our way through the cave. So there is a gold bear encounter in here that you can get into a pincer with. And that pincer is very scary. That's why I moved lock down into the second row, because if you're facing the wrong way, that bear will one-shot you. You really don't want to die in lock scenario. So we just use our smoke bombs here since Locke is fast. And we're gonna take a little detour, and we're gonna pick up this Thunder Rod. So, well, not Thunder Rods, any rods in this game are extremely broken. They ignore defenses, they penetrate wall, and they are always going to be max damage of the level 2 spell. So this thing is going to straight up just one-shot the tunnel armor without even worrying about it. See if we get poison there. It's just going to be another menu. We're going to use that antidote we got earlier. We're going to use that, pick it up, drop it. Range. There it is. So, Locke is just talking to himself. Use the Thunder Rod. And just like that, we win. Super easy game. Alright. So since I did have Bannon in the front row before I started Ultros, he's still going to be in the front row. So I'm going to throw a quick save down here, just in case Bannon takes a shot to the face. Because this part of the river is pretty scary with Bannon in the front row. But again, we're just going to use smoke bombs, run from all the encounters, and continue on. So I'm going to take that pike, and I'm going to equip it on Edgar. So I don't have to do it later. We're all ready for the final Kefka fight coming up. Well, not the final Kefka fight. So you can actually get 3 encounters on this part of the river. So when you you saw the raft hesitate for a second after that first encounter. When it hesitates, it's checking to see whether it wants to roll an encounter or not. So we're only getting 2 isn't too bad there. 2 is pretty solid. 3 encounters is relatively slow. And yeah, this part of the run is not scary. There's really nothing to worry about. Once you're through the river, you're kind of home free. Remember that door that I referenced earlier? We're gonna be using that door. We like to sneak into places. Gonna continue. We're gonna run into a couple encounters along the way. Staying on step route is good because you don't get an encounter in that first room, but you do get an encounter in here. We do get a pincer. It's not super scary. We just gotta run, use a smoke bomb, pop one right away. Meow. Come on, come here. I can't pet you if you don't get up here. There we go. Alright, so we're not going to follow this thing's instructions. We're going to follow them like halfway. We don't need to go back down. So if you're facing up when you run it, when you trigger the failed checkpoint thing, if you just hold down A, if you're facing up, you'll always tag the glimmering eye. So I just hold A when I run through this room, and you clear it. So here, we're just going to use smoke bombs. You can run down through and see all the Moogles. It's a little bit slower, but there are no encounters in those 2 rooms. It takes you a lot of steps, but you do get less encounters. So say you don't have enough smoke bombs, you get 1 less encounter if you go through there. So say you were a smoke bomb short, because you got the Phoenix now instead of the Black Belt. But these things, these enemies aren't dangerous to Bannon, even if you get in a pincer attack. So we have this. I believe this is our last encounter, and then we're home free. We just need to beat Kefka. We don't need to worry about unequipping anybody. Everybody's already equipped and ready to fight Kefka. We're ready to go. Just gotta sit through a few more minutes of cutscenes, and we'll be done. Glad we got that train suplexed. Glad we got Kefka suplexed. Glad I could beam it up for y'all. This has been, it's always a good time playing this game. I love Final Fantasy VI. It's a very interesting speed game. There's not a whole bunch of hard tech. Weight tricking, super simple. Movement, it can be a little rough with sprint shoes, but overall it's not too bad. A lot of mashing, though. Yeah, the Kefka fight coming up is definitely very tricky, especially if you don't know how to weight trick. Weight tricking can be super important. Well, it is super important. Like, Kefka has cast Ice 2 on his third turn, so we want to weight trick not as much as we can at the most important parts of the fight, which are the most damage coming. So Sabin's Aura Bolt or Edgar physically attacking, we want to weight trick because we don't want Kefka to cast Ice 2. A full party target Ice 2 will kill everybody but Sabin, but it will also kill Sabin unless he has that Mithril Shield on, which is why I put it on him in the Imperial camp with Optimi. You can put the Mithril Shield on Terra early, or you can put it on somebody else. It is best left for Sabin, so if you do get that full party Ice 2, he doesn't die. So if you do notice, we don't actually have Celeste. We see a Moogle there. That is actually General Kutan. So the way characters are stored in this game, at the very, very beginning of the game, everybody has a Terra sprite. Once you activate the Moogles, everybody has a Moogle sprite, and they all have stats pertaining to that certain Moogle. And then when you name them, that's when they get their name and their stats, and they actually become that character. So that's why we have Kutan here, because Kutan is related to Celeste. They're one and the same. But Kutan just happens to be the slot where Celeste is supposed to be. So again, we're gonna dodge the guards, like we did at the very beginning. I'm gonna bring very certain people. We don't want Locke. Locke is very, very bad. He doesn't do enough damage. So we're actually not gonna fight any of these guys. We're only gonna fight Kefka. Kefka's the only one we care about. Standing in very strategic spots, we're going to avoid every single one of these soldiers. We're going to walk very specifically down to this point, stand here. We're going to wait for this guard to pass on our left. And then we're going to go down, and we're going to stand right here. Then we're going to wait for this one brown guard that comes our way to go up. And then we're going to go and hopefully avoid Ryder. I did encounter Ryder earlier today in practice, but we'll wait patiently here. Alright. So we weight trick the Aura Bolt. We get Iron Needle right off the bat, that's fantastic. So we want our second Aura Bolt to go off before Kefka's second turn. Which is good, that means we more than likely won't get Ice 2'd. If we do. So we're gonna weight trick again. Get our Aura Bolt, and this should do it. If not, it's gonna be Edgar's attack that'll finish it off. Alright, and that's once he escapes. Cool. And that right there is Kefka at Narshe. Relatively short run, pretty easy to learn. A lot of the speed tricks are super simple. And yeah, this is a pretty solid time overall. 1:26.04 is the same exact time I got in practice earlier, so consistency. Thank you all for the GGs. It was always great running, always great running this game. Hope you all enjoyed it. I had a good time. Here. Let me... Let me see what I can do to... Here, let me show how to set up step routing. So you're gonna need a save file on the Veld, in case anybody wants to happen to learn this run in the off chance. So you want to have a save file on the Veld. With 0 threat level. So after you get into an encounter, you want to save, and you want to have that save file be able to be used. So what we're going to do to set up the encounter seed is we count our steps out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we got an encounter on step 12. So I have a little Excel document here that everybody uses. We'll just stand here and take a beating for a second. So we need to find 3 encounters on the belt. So step 12, and then we're gonna reset, load the same file, and then do that total of 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay? So we put that in the Excel document, reset, and find the next encounter. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. Okay, so after those 3 encounters, we'll input it, it'll run everything, and now it is telling me that I need to reset 3 times from the save screen. So I'll do 3 resets on this screen, and then 13 times from loading a save file. So there are 255 seeds, 0 through 256. 0 through 256. We always run, at least in K at N, and glitchless, we run seed 244. It is the most favorable encounter seed. So right now, off that last reset, we are on seed 45. So we need to reset a whole bunch to get all the way to 244. Here, what do you say we go to the Coliseum? Let's go to the Coliseum. Maybe we'll run into Doomgaze on the way. Who knows? Alright. So our good friend Ultros, World of Ruin, this is a completely different save file. So, he's a receptionist. Yes, the seed lasts until you reset the game. So, if I were running, say, glitchless, when I reset at the river, I don't reset again until the World of Ruin. So I'm on that same seed through the whole time, and it doesn't cycle unlike some other games, like Final Fantasy IV is like a frame perfect trick every time you reset. This is probably my favorite music in the game. The Coliseum, I spent many hours here as a child trying to win and not lose all my stuff. A fun fact about Coliseum here. If you end up losing your item, make sure you save outside before you bet anything and just reset if you lose. Another thing that you can do, if you don't feel like watching that, that boring intro every time you start a brand new game, what we do in this run is why that didn't play when I hit new game is after my last reset to get my encounter seed, I just let the intro play and then that'll do it.